We're in Swanbourne at our Swanbourne house. It's located in a very established suburban setting. The home is located on a relatively narrow 500 square metre lot in an existing built up area where houses are typically sort of large frontage, quite broad and quite tall, presenting to the street. Garages front the street and there's not much left for garden. So we really wanted to explore how we could site the house to gain the best access to natural light and ventilation, as well as use the topography to our advantage, which led to an interesting opportunity to then have a sort of a somewhat single story building that sat on the higher part of the topography, and then we could bring the cars in below. Above the cars we could then have an open deck, or the outdoor entertaining area, which is kind of counterintuitive to how most people design in this space. So as you approach the house, we've got a ramp deck from the street, and with the intention that you could actually age in place, and if it came to it, it was wheelchair accessible. That bypasses the front of the house. We don't have a traditional front door, and you come in along the side of the house, so you really engage with the building itself, and it's kind of all about passing through the gardens. Upon entering the house, you're sort of immersed straight away into the main living space. This really broad, generous living area, elevated above the rear of the site and really well connected to the northern deck. Along the north of the house is actually one long corridor effectively that is engaged with the northern window, so the whole northern facade is this one big glazed element, really well shaded, and along that north we have integrated study desk that sits in the windows. We've got a spare bedroom at the front, which is kind of a multi-purpose room that the grandkids can use when they come up, and then obviously the main living space. And then we've got our client's master bedroom, which is sitting in the southwest corner of the building, so it retains this really nice cool environment. It's connected to the street without being open to the street through this angled glancing window that we designed in, and it sits behind this wonderful mature tree that's existing on the site. That allowed us to then move the rest of the building, so the separate bedrooms and the additional kitchenette, to a lower level and create a somewhat, apartment living, I guess, on the lower level adjacent to the carport, which then connects with the rear garden, which is this really generous open backyard on the lower section of the site. The design, I suppose the aesthetic of the house, the form and the materiality of the house is really it's kind of an interest of our practice. We're really engaged with lightweight structures, I guess sheds, and this project presented this really nice opportunity where we've got a client who has a country background, so this sort of familiarity with lightweight structures, sheds, farmhouses, and we really wanted to try and flip that on its head and bring it into a suburban setting, which is really kind of out of context but very sympathetic to what's around it. We've got traditional galvanised corrugated metal. We've got natural timber cladding that'll silver off and age really gracefully over time. And the idea is the roof sort of folds, and so there's this carapace that kind of wraps around the warmer cladding. The upper floor of the house is effectively this sort of contemporary take on a lightweight shed structure. And then the lower level is the masonry element. It's kind of built into the topography. It's acting as a retaining. It's the thermal mass of the house, and the suspended slab sits on that. And it's just a very cost-effective face brick that we've used. It creates that sort of longevity for the lower section and separates the two from an aesthetic point of view. So you never read it as a two-storey house. It's a single-storey shed on top of a masonry base. The main fundamental principles behind the design were just ensuring the shading on the north was designed perfectly to our climate, so the summer and shoulder seasons cut out all the sun angles, and then it really, really helps bring in the sun during winter once it drops lower. And then we've added a flexible shade sail to assist with some of the cooling effect during summer, and then high performance glazing and insulation to maintain a really comfortable, stable environment internally. We really enjoyed working on this project. It had a number of wonderful aspects to it. We had a fantastic client relationship. We had a really good relationship with the builder. All three parties were involved from the outset of the project, which really enabled us to get the end result that we did. All discussion points were on the table, and we were able to actually talk through the benefits of certain things and why we should push for them, and the end result speaks for itself. It's a really comfortable, livable house that's really well performing.